Lori and I were here today to talk to you about shed wars, and we're going to talk about shed wars, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my experience with shed wars. I was with shed wars last year, and this is my second year with shed wars, and Lori is new to shed wars. So last year I applied. I heard about it and was just looking for disabled gardening, and I applied, and I got working with the Still Creek Garden, and I really enjoyed it. And then I've been on YouTube for a while, and I was searching for YouTube, and I saw Shed Wars, and I wondered what it all was about, and I was checking it out, started going through videos, and basically started checking out the videos. And they had two teams at that time, Will It Grow and Team Woodcutter at that time. And, you know, I didn't know which team to go to. I saw all the videos, and this year they did a draft, so you were automatically drafted, but last year you sort of had to choose, and I didn't know other people, so I just chose to go to Will It Grow's team, and it was fun. Last year was the first year of it, so some of the people didn't go by the rules and stuff. They had rules and stuff last year. Some of the people didn't go by the rules like they were supposed to, but everyone that competed in it, we got seeds at the end, some heirloom seeds, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun doing it last year, and a lot of fun doing it. So, and Laura's going to talk more about how Shed Wars goes. And this year, what they're doing is they've got gladiator challenges, and one of the gladiator challenges was mystery seeds. So Lori and I, we exchanged our mystery seeds, and that's been fun this year. So I'm going to move on, and I'm just going to show you some pictures of the garden that we've got, and can you see it?
Yeah, okay. Pretty.
Okay, so that was some of the vegetables that we grew last year. These were some of last year. We found with the heat this year, it's a lot more difficult to grow the vegetables, because with the heat, we lost a lot of stuff with the heat. And right now we don't know if there's moles or rats and stuff. We lost one of the mystery seeds that Lori sent was ground cherries, and unfortunately the rats have got to it. But someone said to put mint in the bed, so we put mint in the bed, and I was there last night with Lauren, and they look a lot better.
Oh, that's a good tip.
So last year we grew black radish, which you can see the bigger ones, and we grew wasabi radish and zucchinis. And oops, went too fast. And that was just a picture of me. I think that was near the beginning of last year. Some of these pictures are from last year, and some are from this year. And that was, they're not really in order, I guess, but here's one just before we started last year. And there's one with me in the bed last year. And then what I did last year is I took all my pictures when I brought them home, and I made a collaboration like of every week's pictures, and that was something you'll see one individually, but that was our pea trellis last year. We had peas that were probably about 3 or 4 feet high as the kale plant this year.
Wow, that's impressive.
The peas didn't do very good this year. We figure it was because of the heat.
Mm-hmm. Global warming.
And that was another one. That was just, you can see the pea trellis there just starting there, but the plants weren't growing up. And that was, I believe that was one of our zucchini plants. And these are all from last year. And that was when we picked the wasabi radish, the first batch.
Nice.
And it was an experimental thing that they did with that Shireen did with DIGA. We tried wasabi and black radish and some of the stuff I've never grown before. And that was the black radish that we grew. And we grew these during the season, and then we actually planted some over the winter. So in the spring, we had some this year. We probably are going to do that again. We're going to plant some more. And then when we first go to the garden in the spring, we'll have them. And there's the pea trellis that we had. And like I said, it was probably about 3 feet high. I know when Lauren went to harvest them, she had to stand on a ladder. She had to bring a ladder. And this was a cucumber. And the story behind the cucumber is we got the plant and the stem on the plant got broken. And we thought we were going to lose the plant, but we were able to find material and fix the break. So we had the plant and we got a lot of cucumbers. And the cucumbers and everything last year did a lot better. We've already pulled out our cucumber this year. And then that's with me when we picked the wasabi radish, it was like a bundle of stuff. Yeah, and their wasabi is a little spicy, but
Oh, I love wasabi. These are beautiful.
And that was Lauren, so she was up at the pea trellis, so you can just see like standing up there. That might have been when she was picking peas, I think. And then, of course, Roy and I in the garden. I think these are still from last year because you can see the corn. Like we grew corn, but unfortunately the birds got at it.
Oh no.
Yeah, you're lucky. My corn never survives either. So.
And last year when we had a volunteer plant when we had our garden last year. We didn't plant it, but it was there when we planted it, and it was in the one corner. So we had potatoes that we didn't even plant last year. And the one potato, one of them, I'm not sure which one, the bigger potato, the spike went right through it for the watering system. And this is a sign that they've got, like with the territory that we're on, they've got that sign there at the territory. And I think this was taken about a year ago when we went to Roy's mom, or for Roy's mom's birthday, we grew some straw flowers, and I was able to pick a few for a nice bouquet for our table there. And this was in the spring this year. And that was the black radish that came up over the winter.
Oh.
Wow.
And that's the same as the kale plant that we have, the tall kale plant. And there was a picture here. I think that was the start of the cucamelons that we've got growing in. I picked a couple of them. And of course I'm in the background, and we got a little gnome there. And another picture of me just in the background of the garden.
So all of these are grown for Shed Wars. Is it a competition?
It's a competition, yes. So what we do is we take we bring our produce home and we weigh it. We're supposed to weigh it. I don't have a scale, so I sort of guess what it is. And we total it up, and at the end of the year, the team with the most gets a prize. Gets heirloom seeds for the next year. And they do have a sponsor. It's Haas Tools.
Haas Tools?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you able to send that link to me in the description?
Maybe Lori can.
Okay. Lori, if you could do that, that would be wonderful.
For which? For Shed Wars or Haas Tools? Actually, when I show you the Shed Wars has a link to the sponsors. So.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm going to take you guys and show you the Shed Wars site here in a little bit. So when you're looking at that, you can, I'll give you that link, and then you can get to, we actually have 2 sponsors now. So you'll be able to go to both of those links.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. This was taken this year, probably a few weeks ago, taken in the garden and just. And then this was taken, it was taken it was taken in August, the holiday weekend. We went and Lauren was there, a volunteer, and she's got her dog, so her dog was there. And we call Alaska our garden mascot. Last because it was hard to sit still, but she sat still for the picture.
That's okay. Everyone needs a mascot, though.
And then we got the picture of me with the big tall kale plant.
My goodness.
And
Wow.
then the sign. We grow food for ourselves and our families. Please respect our work. So that's the end of the slideshow. Now, the only thing that I don't like with the garden is it's a community garden. So the only thing I don't like with the garden, is we have had things that have been stolen, and that's the disadvantage of it, because, we had a nice pepper, when it was stolen, it was a good size. But now we noticed last night when I was there with Lauren, the volunteer, that we have more blossoms on peppers. So we were saying we're going to pick them before they get, we were waiting for that one to get red, because apparently once they're green, they can turn red. So we were waiting, but
yeah,
we were waiting to see it.
Well, you have to take the good with the bad with community gardens. So
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're wonderful resources, but you're always going to get those few.
That's right. Yeah. So now I'm going to turn it over to Lori.
Okay. So I know that Elizabeth mentioned the secret seeds, and let's see if I can, over here on the arch behind me, that's the beans. That's your beans growing there,
Wow.
Elizabeth. That have grown all the way up on the arch behind me. That's your secret seed, your secret bean seed.
Do yours have flowers on them yet? Because the same type I planted in the garden, they don't have flowers on them yet.
Oh yeah, they've got flowers and they've got tons of beans on them already.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. Like this picture's probably 3 or 4 weeks old, but there are beans hanging everywhere there now.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. I need to harvest them. So Shed Wars, it is my first year in Shed Wars, and I just came across, I'm a new gardener. I just really had my first successful year of gardening last year. And so as I was looking for things, I was looking for gardening things, and I ran across a few Shed Wars videos, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. And I started watching all of those. And then when they came up this year that they were going to let new people join, I signed up and did an entry video, and here I am growing in Shed Wars now. And what I liked about it, for one, is there's gardeners of all different calibers. There's people like me who are just getting started out, and there are people who have been gardening for 30 years or more who are also there. And so the amount of knowledge that is in that store of videos from Shed Wars is just phenomenal. There's people who know a little bit about everything and a lot about some things. So it's been really helpful for me just being able to become a better gardener and to understand what it is that I'm doing in the garden, because I'm completely self-taught. The only place I ever have learned anything about gardening is YouTube. YouTube and Google, they're my friends. Those are my sources for learning how to do things. And you can see the bed behind me now is empty, but that's where all my drying beans were and my marigolds. And now I've just replanted it. I put carrots and some radishes and stuff in there. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it's been an interesting way to meet people all around the world. And that's been one of the really neat parts about it, is there are people involved who are down in Australia. We've got people in Africa. We've got people in the Middle East. We've got people in Europe. We've got people all over Canada, all over the United States. I don't think we have anyone yet in South America, but we're hoping to expand to there as well. Like, the more the merrier, right? because it's just a bunch of people who get together, who like to go out and garden, and they're sharing their knowledge with other people. And then, you know, we have live streams where we get together and chit chat with each other. And so it's really a close community of people that you get to know, and that you can really count on for, you know, if you have a question or you need advice, or even if you just want somebody to hang out with for a while. You can almost always find a Shed Wars live going on that you can go and hang out with a few people that you know and get some social interaction in. I know that's been tough for a lot of people with, you know, all the distancing and stuff that's been going on over the last couple of years, that being able to get together in a virtual setting, you may not be able to give people a hug, but you can at least see people's faces, and you can read their expressions, and you know, you can smile at somebody without an LOL, right? So yeah, it's kind of nice. So I guess I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you the Shed Wars website, and I'm going to run a video that kind of just explains how Shed Wars got started. And then I'll show you the sponsors for Shed Wars, and then we'll go from there. So let me share my screen. And here is the Shed Wars site. So it's just shedwars.com. I will come back and post that into the chat at some point. But yeah, it's just shedwars.com, and you can see our message. We are bringing people the message to grow your own food again, teaching them how, and having fun while we do it. So, and then it has a little explanation of Shed Wars being a global gardening collaboration. We get together to encourage and teach people how to grow their own food, no matter where they live, no matter what kind of garden that they have. There are people who have only a small deck to be able to plant on, or they might only be able to plant in containers, or you know, they might only be able to grow in a windowsill. Everybody is different depending on where you live, but you can always grow something. As long as you have a window and some light coming in, you can grow something. And it's just a little bit of self-sufficiency that can feel really good. I know when I only had, years ago, I started growing my own herbs because all I had was a window that I could grow in. And so I thought, well, I wanted to grow something. So I grow herbs, and I started growing herbs way back then. I've grown all of my own herbs and spices now for years. You know, I dry my own basil, parsley, thyme, oregano, sage, all of those things I grow myself. I can dry them myself. You just have to lay them out on something and let them dry, crumble them up, and you've got your spices for the year. I very rarely have to buy. I mean, there's some spices I can't grow, but you know, for a lot of those herbs and spices, I just grow my own, and it's just one way of being a little more self-sufficient. Anyway, so let me go ahead. Here's this video, how it began. And I'm going to go ahead and say watch on YouTube, and I'll bump it up to full screen.
So you want to know how Shed Wars was started? Well, it's got a little bit of a dark history. So me and Wilson's going to shed some light on that subject. Got the fire, all the stuff ready for the fire here. I'll get this going, but let me start in the early beginnings when I started my channel. You see, my channel is little homesteading channel on a half acre, and I am very passionate about permaculture. Well, since I was passionate about permaculture, that led me to a channel that was shouted out by Ernie Hatmaker. Ernie Hatmaker shouts out a lot of different channels. And one that she shouted out that day was a channel called Serenity Meadow Permaculture. And I didn't know what that was. I'm like, what in the world is a Serenity Meadow Permaculture? I didn't know whether that was a gardening channel or if it was some kind of gardening in a graveyard channel, or what that was. Or maybe it was old folks in a retirement home, you know, doing some gardening. I had no idea. So I went and found that channel, and most of you have found that channel as well. It's just that he's changed the name of it. The channel that used to be known in the very beginning as Serenity Meadow Permaculture, you now know as Arkansas Woodcutter. And he and I became friends. Now let me tend to this fire and we'll pick back up. And one thing I learned quickly about Mark is that he was very happy to help other people grow. He shared out a lot of channels to me, people of all kinds that he had found, helping them grow. And I tell you, that's one thing that a lot of people just don't realize is how many people Mark Smith, Arkansas Woodcutter, has helped grow their channels through making all these connections that he's made. And, they just don't realize that, how many people are connected, and now how many people are connected to Shed Wars.
So I paused that on purpose because I just realized it's a 20-minute video. I don't know if you guys want me to keep running the whole thing or just give you the link to the page where you can then go and run the video yourself.
A link to the video would be
Okay.
nice, but
Yeah, I'll do that. We don't have to.
Could you summarize what he was going to say? Like, if he was introducing us to how Shed Wars got started? And
yeah, so I'll wrap the story up in a little bit faster time than the 20 minutes that he's allowing. Let me get back here to the meeting so I can stop sharing my screen if I can. You guys are seeing everything I'm doing. I have everything but the meeting. Here we go. Okay. So basically what he's going to go on and tell is, so he met Mark, and he and Mark got together and they started being friends and gardening. And then they met a guy named John who has a channel called Will It Grow. And Will It Grow he is a pretty funny guy, but he's got a very different sense of humor. Some people don't know how to take him, but he challenged Mark and Robert to a growing contest for who could grow the biggest peppers. And one of them did a video in his very, very messy shed. And then the other one, John, did a video back replicating his messy shed. And that's how the name Shed Wars came about, because they started it in these messy sheds. And it was going to be a shed war on who could grow the best and the biggest. And so at first it was just the three of them, and they started putting the videos out, and then more and more people saw the videos and became interested, started asking how to be part of it. And it grew to, I don't know how big it grew last year, but I know that the video list for the original Shed Wars had over 1 million hits on it, of people going and looking at videos about gardening and about Shed Wars. And then when they went for Shed Wars 2021, they actually expanded it and got 2 more teams. They've got 2 Southern Hemisphere teams now that are actually run by a couple of guys that are down in Australia. I think they're both in Australia, but it's teams from Australia, New Zealand, Africa, some Southern European countries, just a variety of different countries. And their schedule ran from like October to March. And then the Northern Hemisphere schedule takes over from March to the end of September. And so it's kind of a rotational thing where you've got your 2 teams down south really competing for 6 months out of the year. And it's 2 teams, but each team has probably 10 or 12 gardeners on it. And then you look at the Northern Hemisphere and you've got 2 teams, but each team has about 50 gardeners on it. So there's over 100 and some odd channels that are involved in it this year between the 2, the North and the Southern Hemisphere. And it really is, for me, it's really interesting to see both the similarities and the differences in growing, because there's a lot of things when it comes to growing plants that are the same, right? You put them in the ground, you water them and you feed them, and you make sure they get enough light. And that's really it. The rest of it is up to God, right? He decides what's going to grow and what's not going to grow. But it doesn't matter where you are, whether you're in a desert in Africa or if you're in a rainforest in British Columbia, growing is the same. But there are different little tricks and tips based on your own little region that can make a big difference, okay? So for example, if you're in somewhere really, really hot, you might want to mulch all your beds because it helps keep moisture in. If you're in a really, really damp climate, you may not want to mulch your beds because that can trap moisture and mold and other things in your garden, right? So although the basic premises are the same, some of the little tips and tricks are different. And so learning about those things from other people who are gardening around the world has been really, really helpful for me anyway. And that's why I love it.
Hmm.
And then I guess we're going to open for questions.
Oh, well, that was lovely. I was wondering, okay, so you have two teams in the Northern Hemisphere, Woodcutter and Will It Grow. Are they region specific? Do they have teams up in Canada? Are they North American wide, or?
They do have teams. Actually, Mark had to leave. Woodcutter had to leave at the beginning of this season for some personal matters. And there's another team captain who is my team captain, Robert from Homestead Aquarius. And so there are still two teams, but they're Team Aquarius and Team It Won't Grow.
It won't grow, or will it grow?
I'm on it won't grow. It was Will It Grow, but they call it Won't Grow.
Yeah,
Oh,
Team Will It
okay,
Grow,
so
but those of us who are on Team Aquarius call it Team It Won't Grow.
Okay, that's fun. Nice little competitive spirit there.
Yeah, but so they're not though. Like I'm on Vancouver Island, and people on our team, there are several people in Canada on my team, and then all through the United States, and I believe there are even a couple. They have each team brought two farmers from the Southern Hemisphere up, that, because people grow year round. And so they're counting some of that weight from some farmers down south. But there's still two teams, but they didn't do region specific. They just kind of almost drew names out of a hat as to who's going to be on
what they did this year too is when we entered it, like the first year they didn't do it, but when we entered it this year, what we had to do is we had to make up a video, and then they did a draft. So they spent 2 days and they did a draft, drafting. Like I think I was the fifth person to go, and they had all the people, and they had fun with that. Like it was over 2 days, and they did the draft. And last year also when Team Woodcutter was there, his nickname was Woodchuck. So last year they had us do a video, and it was just a side thing, but we had to do like a funny video to woodchuck. About a woodchuck. So up here, they talk about groundhogs, but I said, up here, they call groundhog woodchucks and stuff like that, and we did that. So just to have fun, like they make it a lot of fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun little competition things, and everybody is so helpful and so friendly. I mean, everybody has an off day now and then, but for the most part, everybody is very accepting, very, very open to helping people who don't maybe know as much about gardening, or, like me, I'm the blind leading the blind here. I don't have really a clue what I'm doing, but I love my garden and I love getting out in it, and I love watching things grow. And so it was incumbent on me to find ways to get better at it, because I have all these raised beds in my backyard that my husband built for me, that he would be quite upset if I don't grow things in them.
Well, what a wonderful incentive, this kind of competition, to kind of foster motivation and, initiative to grow new things. So that's wonderful. Do you know how people could be involved? And you said the teams are kind of randomly picked. You can't say I want to be on team like Aquarius versus Will It Grow.
Right. Well,
So
now
they
you
just
can.
randomly. Okay.
Now that the teams are set, and I'll have to look. I don't know if those emails are on the website or not, but you can email either team captain and say, I would like to be a part of Shed Wars. How do I get started? It might be a little late in the season now because our season in the Northern Hemisphere ends this month.
I think they said it goes till about till the 23rd of October because
okay, so
March
mid-October.
23rd to October 23rd. So you could still get in, but it's getting pretty late. I'm more maybe aiming for next year.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would. But you can get involved with the community without necessarily having a team on the community right now. Right? I mean, there's nothing that stops anybody from coming to the lives or watching any of the videos or checking anybody out that they want to on Shed Wars. If you go to YouTube and search for Shed Wars, all one word, you will get inundated with videos that are from Shed Wars, and then Shed Wars 21 is this year. And anybody who's interested in having a look at what goes on with Shed Wars would just do a search for some of those. And they did this year, they got a little better with labeling the videos because there are some videos that are just for fun, right? Like I have some videos about spies in my garden that Team It Won't Grow sent to my garden and lambasted my sweet mother and took her to his team and sent spy, so I have some of those fun Shed Wars videos, and other people do as well. But then there are the Shed Wars gardening videos. And so people who are just looking for the gardening information. And then they've also expanded out and they now have like Shed Wars cooking videos, how to cook your harvest, what you do with all those vegetables that you grow. And, they brought in some other categories as well, like arts and building and just more, they've got some different stuff for more people who are more geared for homesteading. If you're keeping your own chickens or pigs or that kind of stuff, there's videos on how to raise those and how to hatch them to how to butcher them at the end, right? Like there's just all kinds of, from the beginning to the end processes of the things that you can do to be more self-sustainable. But they understand that not everybody has a huge farm and can have, chickens and goats and pigs, right? Not all of us can have that stuff. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have that stuff. You can have a balcony or a window to grow stuff in, and you can still be an active member of the community and be learning and sharing knowledge and just being a part of the community, which is nice to be part of a community of people who have similar interests, right?
So Lori, I have another question for you. Surprise, surprise. I always have lots of questions. So if I wanted to be a part of one of the teams next year, how would I go about doing that? Are there rules that I have to follow? Do I have to be a YouTuber? Can you walk me through that process?
You do need to have a YouTube channel. But if you watch YouTube and you have ever commented on a video, you already have a YouTube channel. Okay. You may not be utilizing it and putting videos on it, but because it's a video, part of the requirements are to put up videos about gardening and about teaching about gardening and learning about gardening. And I don't do a lot of teaching on my gardening, but I do talk a lot about the things that I've learned. Because for me, it's all a learning process. I don't know enough to teach anybody anything about gardening, but I can talk about what I've learned. But part of it is sharing the whole adventure of gardening through video. Okay. So that does require that there is a video channel involved with it. But we've had some people who have started video channels, YouTube channels, just to be on Shed Wars.
All right.
So it's not like you don't have to have a big channel with thousands of followers. You can have 0 followers and still have a channel and have it involved and active in Shed Wars. You know, it's just a matter of putting the videos up for the Shed Wars, because they do
It really helps the community grow, like your channel, because I know since I was on Shed Wars last year, like I've gained probably 100, 150 subscribers because of it. You know, like they all follow each other, and it's, sub to each other. And it's really good, for gaining your channel, growing your channels and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great way to expand your social connections.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Were there any specific rules that you had to follow in the
There
growing
are.
season?
You have to make 2 videos a month. And you have to include a teaching or learning point in each video. And I think that's it. And we have to use the right hashtags.
And were there
it.
were there rules to what you can grow? I know.
Nope.
I know. Yeah, I know what you mentioned this. I can't remember if it was either you or Elizabeth, but it was based on the weight of
Right.
the it's so basically you're growing vegetables, so it kind of excludes flowers, but you're
unless they're edible. If they're edible flowers, you can count them.
Okay, so it has to be edible.
Herbs you can count. If you go foraging for blackberries, you can count those. If you go fishing, you can count your fish. Anything, any food that you produce or catch or process yourself that goes to feed your family can be counted towards your weight.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. So, I like I said, I grow a ton of herbs. I'm weighing all my herbs, and I don't do fishing or any of that kind of stuff, but there are lots of people who do, and they, as long as, and I mean, you can't catch a fish and weigh it and release it. That doesn't count, right? You gotta take it home and eat it. You're gonna weigh it.
Wow, this program, Shed Wars, really helps to promote self-sufficiency and growing your own produce and growing your own food. This is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a phenomenal collaboration of a bunch of people who just want to help other people grow food.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Does anybody else have any questions? I feel like I'm monopolizing the conversation a little bit. All right.
Let me share my screen again for 1 minute because I totally forgot to show you guys the sponsors.
Right. Yes.
So let me just go back to that real quick.
Sure.
Share. Oh, where are we? Shed Wars. Okay, so here are the 2 official sponsors. So we have Haas Tools. And again, here's the link right here. Pops you right into Haas Tools. And then we also have Monticello Cellars. And if you use the affiliate links from the website, why didn't that load? If you use the affiliate links from the website, you can actually use this link to get a 5% discount on any of these artisan fine wines or wines.
Oh, wow.
Are
these American companies?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and they ship to Canada though.
Shipping and handling.
It's not, well, I don't know. I've tried some of their vinegars. The girls, there are some girls that are involved with this channel, the Vineyard Chicks, and they're just fantastic. They're part of Shed Wars.
Yeah, they're just young girls, and they're they're really good. They go out and do the videos by themselves and everything, and it's really good.
These girls here, you guys will love them. I'm gonna run this video real quick.
Yeah,
it's only 3 minutes.
Hello everyone. This is our entry into the Name Mr. John at Willie Grow Challenge. Since he called us the 3 Musketeers, we are going to be offering him 3 different names. The first, since he penalized Bunky for the way she counted in her experiment, the Count. The second, since he changed his name from the Sheriff to the Marshal, the Police. And finally, does the jellyfish sting? And speaking of Sting and the police, we put a little thing together to talk about the terrible situation that's going on over at Lori's World. We'll provide links to Willie Grow and Lori's World in the description, so please check that out to learn more. Every bed you make, on the ground you break, every plant you pick, every time you ring, I'll be watching you, every single day, every word you say, every time you wake, on the Father's Day, I'll be watching you. Can you see? You belong to me.
Anyway, you get the picture.
Oh, they're adorable.
They are adorable and they're so much fun. I think you have to take me off share screen. But yes, their parents who are the other sponsors. The Monticello Cellars is their parents' vineyard in wherever they are. I don't even remember.
Wow. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing about Shed Wars. Like, I can't wait to get started next year myself. I understand it's a little late in the season, but now
Maybe
you guys
when-
gave me something else.
Michelle, maybe when it comes to next year, we could send you info, and you could maybe send it even out to some of the members, like if there was other members, that would join, maybe we can, get it to you, and you can send it out to DIGA, if there was other members.
I think that would be a wonderful idea. I would love to start like our own DIGA team, and that would be amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you think, Mary?
Well, I had lots of questions that came up during the talk, but they've all been answered.
Okay, that's wonderful. What do you think about starting our own DIGA YouTube channel for Shed Wars?
That would be a learning curve in itself.
For sure. But we can talk about it more. But I definitely think it would be amazing to get.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions, I think we'll let you guys go. You guys again were wonderful. Shed Wars sounds really awesome, and I can't wait to get started.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you in some of our live meetings.
Definitely.